Hi guys, this is Alina from Art 493 at Chico State University with Professor Tomu for Art 493, and I'm here to talk about my case study. For this class this term, my friend's name is Michael. He's 11 years old. He's very intelligent. He loves animals. He enjoys art. He stays to himself a lot. He doesn't make eye contact, and he's a perfectionist. So my question was, could working on art help him on things outside of art, like his schoolwork or socially, especially socially? I was hoping to have this free time with him with art to help teach him social skills. And can I motivate Michael to do more art on his own time? So those were my questions when I started. We had a ton of time together. I've been working at the schools for this school as an intern for 2 years. This was my second year. So I've started with Hunter since this August 2015 when school started, all the way through this year. I was student teaching whole class art lessons, science, and math in his actual classroom. And I was pulling students for groups, doing other things. So I've been around Michael a ton, and I always try to seek him out and work with him whenever I can on the social stuff. So I started substitute teaching in January, and I was going to find him on my lunch hour and do art projects on our lunch hour and stuff like that on purpose to help him out. So I've spent hours and hours with Michael beyond what the was required for this class. I was already working with him before this class started, and I have some photos of that work. So I picked just a few of the projects we've done together for this class, but we have done, a ton. This is a scarecrow. The first piece on the left is a scarecrow that I did a whole class art lesson on perspectives and lines, and so the students were working on layering. They were working on the types of lines, like in here a diagonal line, and then the perspective, not only of the layers but also of the size. So some people's scarecrow was like taking up the whole size of the paper. Some people's were really small, so they were learning about, these were all fifth graders learning about perspective. In the middle was, you may recognize the subway art piece. I did that also a whole class, but it doesn't mean that we did them on the same dates because Michael needs so much extra time because he's such a perfectionist that at any time he will just throw away his paper and start again in his work, that it takes 2 or 3 sessions, 2 or 3 times the time of one session for him to finish or to even just get major progress completed. So, for example, in the middle, I think that took maybe 3 sessions, and he still has not colored it. So that just to give you an example. And then the elephant on the right is also his work he named Eddie, which was from a video guide of a pretty popular art video for kids called Art with Joy. And so the elephant he created by following the guide on the movie. And also, I noticed the guides work well for him. The other guide we did, which I'm not sure, yeah, it's in here, is the scarecrow door decoration on the left that you see here, was with a model he chose from Pinterest, a picture he chose, and then he made that from the model, and it turned out really well, as you can see. So I'll go back to where I was. Okay, this other one was called Just Turkey, which was easier. It was just an easier project overall. It still took him a long time. I think he had to do first I helped him we cut the pieces out ahead of time, the feathers, etc. And then the next session was coloring it in. The last session, I wasn't there for the last session, but he is when he wrote that thankfulness piece and put it in the middle. So it was easier project, but it still took a long time, but it was easier. And he likes it because it's a turkey and he likes animals. And then the other one on your right is the chalk effect, and he liked this project, but because it's messy, he kind of had a problem with them. And this is one that we did still earlier in the year, it was like a couple months ago, and so he didn't like that messy part. So at the time, I remember thinking, oh, I think I would do one that's less. I don't think I would do a messy art project again like that for him because I want it to be fun for him. I don't want him to start getting upset or worried or anything because of the mess of the materials. So that is what I learned from him on that project. And then I feel like his developmental level was in Lowenfeld's pre-realistic stage based on the features in his stop bullying project, because you can see where the stop sign does look realistic, but then the people in the picture are still looking not that detailed, like they have a blob body, so they're starting to look human, but they're not quite detailed, and that makes me consider the schematic one we learned about in the comparison on the PowerPoints from class, because it's just the bodies aren't that defined. There's no facial features. The head is still a big blurb. There's no neck, etc. And so I feel like he is at his level pre-realistic, but then there's these other sort of what you might expect from a younger age features in this art. But if you look at his art pieces, I mean, right next to it is the elephant with the that was guided, and it's much better. So I'm not sure. I think he does better with a guide. And so the one on the left was the very first art project we did, which was and just in general, it wasn't for this class. It was just to give him a respite and to get him going on art. And he chose this photo, and he created that thing to look almost exactly. I mean, the details down to the how many strands of hair on each side of the hat, how many stitches on the eyes. I put in my paper how many stitches in the eyes and stuff. He tried to make it exactly. And there was a growth part in this actually very first project, because the other student that you see walking in with the striped shirt and the backpack, he interrupted our photo, and normally this would be an issue, but it wasn't. He smiled and he let him come into the photo. So I really think that having the free time of art will help him in his social life, because he can kind of loosen up, and then he loosens up on those other factors too in regular life. So the very last project we did was actually had the most gains for him socially, because it was a messy project, and also we were able to joke. He was looking at me in the eye during this project, which is huge for him to have eye contact. So I really feel like having these art projects helps him have gains in his regular schoolwork and in his social life. And so he's still not finished. He just takes a long time, and so he didn't get to finish painting this one, and he'll have one more art session, I think, where he has time, and if he doesn't finish, he has all the materials I have already given him. He can go home. I even give him extra other stuff and talk to him about, because we're wrapping up here for the academic year, I was talking to him about what he can do in the summer for art, and who knows if he'll use it. Is my question answered, where he'll be more motivated to do art on his own time, and I even have given him materials now to use at home. I don't know, like over the summer what he'll do, if he'll use it or if he'll just wait, but I know at least he's empowered to have it, and at least he has so many more ideas now that could stem from the projects we've done, because we've done a lot of different mediums. Look from the very beginning, just gluing and pasting and coloring, to the perspectives, to the clay, the construction paper, watercolor, the pencils and the chalks. We've done a lot. So he has a lot more experience now, and I hope that motivates him to try new things. And then, I forgot I was going to say. Oh, I guess that's the only last one. Yeah, that was the last one. Okay, so that is what I learned in my project, and I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Thank you.